Okay, can you guys hear me okay? All right, so I'm happy to be the last presenter today. So in case you're a little bit tired or running out of energy, let's switch it off. Yeah, it's not muting. Hmm? Oh, okay. Thank you. That'll do it. All right, perfect. Thank you, Anthony. All right, so well, I'm sharing screen, so I can't. So I did. It's ignoring me. It's being my enemy. All right, so I'll go ahead and get started. So try to get a little bit more energy tonight. So hopefully this will wake you up a little bit. Okay, so let me introduce you to AtmospherePro. It's a open source app, and Matt, I'm glad you're doing open source stuff, including apps and nearly apps and that kind of stuff. So that's a perfect thing for us to talk about as well. So we thought we should create a really just a very useful app that shows the power of Flutter, and a few things that we really like about it. So we really liked AirDrop and Android Nearby Shares for sharing files with people. That's pretty cool. But thought it would be really nice if you could actually send a file from any device to any device anywhere in the world, and that just seems like a perfect job for Flutter. So let's create an app that does that. And so we did. So we built a thing called AtmospherePro. This is a open source app. It's really just a sample app or an example app that we use to show things, but it actually works, and so we actually put it in the store, so we thought that's kind of cool. All right, so it works on Mac OS, works on Windows, works on iOS, works on Android, works on Linux as well, and if we're lucky, we'll end up with a command line version of it very soon as well. So the cross-platform story of Flutter is something that we really wanted to prove with this app, and so we were able to do that. We also thought, well, we should also make sure that we're protecting the files, so let's do some end-to-end encryption. And so we got to work on that, and we started with this thing called FileBin. So FileBin is a really nice web service that allows you to store files in the cloud, and you can retrieve the files with a URL. So you upload a file, you get a custom URL, and then you can use that URL to download a file. But it's not encrypted. But it is very easy file sharing. It's hidden in plain sight by a URL, so it's fairly safe, but we wanted to make it even safer. So we wrapped it in a lovely little Flutter app and released it into a open source repo. That's it here. So you can take a look at the source code, download it, play with it. The Linux distribution is available from the GitHub repo. Everything else is actually in the stores. So we added in all the end-to-end encryption to make sure that only the person you intend to share it with is the only person in the entire universe that's able to access a file and decrypt it. that also helps us prove that we know how to encrypt and deliver very large files. So it's one of the nice things about file sharing these days is you're not restricted to tiny files, but you can actually do significantly large files. So sending files securely was a big deal that we wanted to also prove with this sample. So, so we actually built it, and voila, it worked. So we do have a file that works on any device, anywhere in the world, any platform, end-to-end encrypted, very large files, and it was pretty damn easy, to be honest with you. So this is it. It's in the App Store, the Google Play Store, even in the Microsoft Store. Thank you, Colin. So that was painful. It's actually up on Product Hunt as well. Thank you, Sahil. And so we're very proud of it. But again, it's just an amp that we built just because, and we release it to the stores. So, because why not release it to the stores? It works, so might as well release it. Okay, so we are so glad we did, and a little very important story is we actually have a whole bunch of NGOs and press people in Ukraine that are using it because some asshole decided to invade Ukraine and start a war. So thank you very much. But so it allows them to exchange files and photos and videos back with their NGO home offices, and you don't leak your phone numbers. It's completely secure, and that's a big deal to them. And so we're very proud to support that. We're working with a company called Keegan and Zariot to get them connectivity, so they get free SIMs, free data connectivity, so that allows them to work in the Ukraine without being surveilled or shut down or blocked or whatever. So we're very proud of that, and that was not why we built the app, but it just so happened that was a very good thing that we could do. So now a word about open source and open source apps. So we wanted to ask the question, is it possible for us to make open source apps a thing? And Matt's, as usual, well ahead of us on this, so why not? So we think that it's a very interesting proposition to say, here are apps. Typically they're proprietary, people keep them close, but why not make open source apps? And see if that takes off. So we're spinning up a bunch of open source apps, and we'll see if they take off. If they don't, we'll stop, and if they do, yay. But one of the questions, and I think another really interesting question is, what could the business model be? Is there a business model for doing open source apps? That would be cool if we could sort that out. Some of the future enhancements I mentioned, one of the things we would love to see happen with this open source app is, we're probably not the best UI designers, but so there are lots of UI and ease of use features that would be great to add or fix or improve. Can we build a command line version so you can just do end-to-end encrypted file share from a command line? That would be, I think, really cool. And we're also looking at using IPFS either in addition to or instead of file bin to store the files. So those are things that we're thinking about right now. And so hopefully that's interesting to you. And it's a great story for Flutter, cross-platform, and end-to-end encryption, and nice UI, and large file size encryption, large file size transfers, and probably some more stuff. But those are the main things that we wanted to kind of demonstrate with this. So that's it. We would love to know if you give it a try, see if you have any, yeah. The files are not compressed. Yeah. Yeah, that's, we hear that's, for some cases or some people, a really big deal. So the files are untouched. They're high fidelity files, and yeah. Yes, sir. So it's really just because it's written in Flutter, I think, is the main thing that we wanted to do. I mean, there are probably lots of them out there. There are a lot of messaging apps that allow you to transfer files. The thing that we've heard that people don't like with those, most of them, is that they tend to leak your phone number. So again, the case in the Ukraine where if I send a file, they may not be able to see the file or the file contents, but they can see who sent it and where it was sent to, and sometimes that's enough to be uncomfortable or even just outright dangerous. So we don't know. I mean, we didn't do it to win a competition. We just did it because we thought it'd be fun and cool to write a Flutter app that does this stuff. That's great, Michael. Yeah, thank you. Yes, Ben. So you can. In fact, if you, that's a good question. We should test that. I mean, so there's two parts that get sent. So one is so we actually encrypt the file, and then we send you a little bit complicated. So we AES encrypt the file, and then we RSA encrypt the AES key to decrypt the file. And so if we send you the file, you get it's just out there. It's encrypted. But if I call back the encrypted AES key that's RSA encrypted, and there is a mechanism for doing a callback, that's actually a really good idea. We should definitely test that. But yeah, so if you act quickly, then you can recall the file, and they will not be able to decrypt it. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, that's. Yep. Yep. Yeah, absolutely. If we create either a player or a streaming viewer, absolutely. Yep. Yeah, it's a lot easier to control if you're just sharing a streaming, byte stream that you're controlling access to, and you can rotate the keys and do all that kind of stuff. If it's not, stored and forwarded or persisted for a while. But yeah, all those things are possible. Great ideas. If you're up to it, drop in a GitHub. It totally is, yeah. And the cross-platform stuff, I just, that kind of blew us all away. We didn't expect it to work as well as it did. And we, when we first started on the Windows stuff, especially, was a bit dodgy, but now it's just rock solid. So, hats off to the Flutter team. Any other questions? All right. Thank you for your attention.
Thanks so much, Kevin.